You know what most people picture when they think of haunted places: creaky castles in Europe, foggy graveyards, maybe an old insane asylum with flickering lights. But Mississippi, nah, too hot, too southern, too full of sweet tea and porch swings. Right. Well, think again. Because beneath those magnolia trees and behind those lace-curtained windows lie echoes. Echoes of gunfire from the Civil War, of footsteps across empty ballrooms, of whispered prayers from candlelit halls that haven't seen guests in decades. Welcome to the haunted heart of the South, where ghosts don't need to scream. They just sit quietly in rocking chairs and wait. In today's video, we're venturing into 10 haunted places in Mississippi, where antebellum mansions, forgotten cemeteries, and echoing halls are more than just tourist spots. They're doorways. And sometimes, those doorways creak open at night. So grab your sweet tea, hit subscribe, give this video a like, and share your ghost theory in the comments. Because trust me, you'll want to stay till the end. Now, come with me. The shadows are getting restless. 1. McRaven House, Vicksburg, the most haunted house in Mississippi. If there's one place in Mississippi where the past refuses to stay buried, it's McRaven House. Built in stages from 1797 to 1849. This mansion isn't just a home, it's a layered timeline of Southern history. But the deeper you go, the colder it gets, especially near the stairs. During the Civil War, McRaven served as a Confederate field hospital. Blood once soaked its hardwood floors, and not every patient left alive. Some say they still haven't. Visitors report the sensation of being watched from the upstairs windows. Others see a pale woman in old-fashioned clothing peering through the glass, vanishing when approached. Inside, footsteps echo through empty rooms. Doors creak open by themselves. The parlor grows icy cold without warning, but it's near the staircase where many feel most uneasy. That's where Mary Elizabeth Howard, the young wife of a former owner, died tragically during childbirth. Her presence is said to linger. Guides have seen her shadow glide down the stairs or felt a soft tug at their sleeves when no one was behind them. Many who've taken the tour leave believing McRaven isn't just haunted, it's inhabited, whether by memory or something far less explainable. The air inside carries more than just age. It carries sorrow, and sometimes a whisper. 2. The Cedar Grove Mansion, Vicksburg, where the past lingers in the scent of cigar smoke. Standing tall among the magnolias of Vicksburg, Cedar Grove Mansion is a pristine relic of antebellum grandeur. Its chandeliers still shimmer. The furniture remains untouched by time, but the silence, it hums. Built in the 1840s by John Alexander Klein, the mansion was once a proud symbol of wealth and Southern elegance, yet death came quickly and without warning. Legend says Klein was shot and killed while enjoying a quiet cigar in his favorite room. The killer was never found, and the cigar never truly finished. Today, guests and staff often smell tobacco drifting through the halls, thick and fresh, as if someone just lit one. But no one's there. In the empty parlor, a deep, warm laugh has been heard low and knowing, echoing long after it should have ended. And then there's the boy. In the garden, amid the roses and iron benches, visitors report seeing a small child barefoot, quiet, always alone. He disappears the moment you look twice. Some say he's one of Klein's children, Others believe he was a patient when the home served as a makeshift hospital. Whatever the truth, Cedar Grove isn't just haunted by grief, it's preserved in it. Beauty and death sit side by side here, as natural as southern heat and Spanish moss. And if you listen carefully, this house still speaks. 3. King's Tavern, Natchez, where jealousy lingers behind the walls. Tucked into the cobbled streets of Natchez lies King's Tavern, Mississippi's oldest standing building, and quite possibly its most restless. Built in the 1700s, it's worn many faces: stagecoach stop, post office, tavern, inn, and eventually something else entirely. Its timbered walls have soaked up centuries of conversation, drunken laughter, and secret rendezvous. But in one shadowed corner, silence speaks louder. During renovations in the 1930s, workers uncovered something chilling behind a brick fireplace: the skeletal remains of a woman and 2 infants. No records, no names, just bones. Locals believe the woman was Madeline, a mistress caught in a fatal triangle of passion and betrayal. Today, her presence is hard to ignore. Bartenders tell of glasses flung from shelves by unseen hands. Guests dining alone sometimes hear a woman sobbing in the empty kitchen, followed by a scream so sharp it slices the room in half. Cold spots drift between tables like invisible guests. And late at night, a figure in colonial dress glides past the windows, only to vanish when pursued. They say Madeline never left, not because she's angry, but because she was hidden away too long, and now refuses to be forgotten. At King's Tavern, every creak in the floorboard, every flicker in the candlelight, might be her reminder she was real, she was wronged, and she is still here. 4. Waverley Mansion, West Point, where elegance meets the unexplained. Rising like a dream out of the Mississippi woods, Waverley Mansion is a masterwork of 19th century architecture, an octagonal showpiece crowned by a grand cupola. Its sweeping staircases and antique furnishings whisper of balls, banquets, and the southern gentility of a world long gone. But not everything inside has moved on. Visitors touring the mansion often pause mid-sentence, heads turning toward the parlor. A piano plays soft, deliberate notes drifting through the hallways. Yet when they peek inside, the room is empty, the keys untouched. The staircase, a spiral of polished wood, draws the eye and, some say, the spirit of a little girl in a white dress. She appears briefly, her feet never quite touching the floor. One guest swore she reached out for the railing before vanishing at the landing. Doors open and shut without a breeze. Cold air moves in currents across closed rooms. Guides recount hearing soft giggles echoing from the upper floors, even on quiet weekday afternoons. No tragedy is clearly documented. No records of a child's death or lost musician remain in the mansion's history. But something lingers. Something gentle, maybe, but insistent. Waverley may be a testament to southern grandeur, but behind its perfect symmetry and antique charm, it harbors echoes no renovation can silence. 5. Anchuca Mansion, Vicksburg, where whispers of power never fully faded. Anchuca stands dignified in the heart of Vicksburg, its Greek revival columns and wrought iron balconies seemingly frozen in the 19th century. It's a place of pride, once graced by Confederate President Jefferson Davis himself, who, after the Civil War, addressed locals from its very balcony. But long after the crowds dispersed and the cannons silenced, voices still echo through its walls. Staff working late often report low, murmured conversations drifting through empty hallways, too measured and deliberate to be mistaken for the wind. One housekeeper recalls hearing a heated political debate just outside the dining room, only to open the door and find it still. The silverware untouched, chairs neatly tucked. The mansion's ornate mirrors seem to hold more than just reflections. Several guests have described catching fleeting figures beside the men in dark coats, hands clasped behind their backs, only to turn and find no one there. One particularly unnerved visitor swore he saw a pale face watching him from an upstairs window during a nighttime garden stroll. The room, he later learned, was locked and unoccupied. Room attendants mention a constant sense of being observed, eyes tracking their movements, unseen presences hovering just out of view. It's not hostile, they say, but unmistakable, like history itself is watching. Anchuca's past remains polished and proud on the surface, but beneath the glossy wood and southern charm lies something else, entirely faint voices, phantom reflections, and the lingering presence of men who once shaped a nation. 6. Longwood, Natchez. The grand mansion that time, and something else refused to finish. Rising like a red-bricked crown above the trees of Natchez, Longwood is a strange and beautiful ghost. Its octagonal design and onion-shaped dome were meant to showcase immense southern wealth. But inside, much of the house remains raw, unfinished, frozen in time. In 1861, Dr. Haller Nutt began construction, envisioning a 30-room palace. But the Civil War changed everything. He died before it was complete. Work stopped. His wife and children lived only on the finished ground floor, and then they too left, abandoning the dream entirely. But not all presents left with them. Visitors who tour Longwood today speak of odd sounds from the upper levels, the unfinished floors, where dust lies thick and no one should be walking. Sharp hammering, the rhythmic scrape of a chisel, as if the workers never left, still bound to a job that will never be done. A guide once stopped mid-tour when she noticed her group staring past her toward a shadow that crossed the upper landing. A tall man in a waistcoat and cravat, silently watching. When they looked again, he was gone. Others feel temperature drops by the grand staircase, or the unnerving sensation of being observed from the upstairs gallery. Cameras sometimes malfunction near the rotunda's center. Longwood is a monument to interrupted ambition, a house whose walls hold echoes of both elegance and loss. Something or someone is still building, still waiting in its hollow heart. 7. Natchez City Cemetery. Natchez, where stone angels whisper and the past never sleeps. Spread over 100 peaceful acres overlooking the Mississippi River, the Natchez City Cemetery is anything but quiet after dark. Dating back to 1822, the grounds are lined with weather-worn gravestones, iron fences, and crypts that seem to sink slowly into the earth. Yet it's not the age of the cemetery that chills visitors. It's the stories that still wander its rows. One statue in particular draws the most fear, a white stone angel standing solemnly near the Confederate section. Locals whisper that if you return at midnight, her head will be turned, silently watching the path behind her. More than one late-night visitor swears the angel has moved just slightly between blinks. It's not just the statues that shift. Walkers report hearing their own names whispered from nowhere. Soft, prayer-like chanting, rises and fades with the breeze, though no one is ever seen. Others have heard footsteps on gravel, following just behind, too steady to be wind, too close to ignore. More unsettling is the repeated appearance of a figure in mourning black. Witnesses describe a woman with a long veil, drifting between the graves, pausing as if searching for someone. She vanishes if you approach, but some say they've seen her face pale, sad, and knowing, whether it's the weight of grief that lingers or something else entirely. Natchez City Cemetery is more than a resting place. It's a space where time folds, voices return, and statues may not be as still as they seem. 8. Linden Bed and Breakfast, Natchez, where Southern charm hides footsteps from the past. Nestled beneath the moss-draped oaks of Natchez, the Linden Bed and Breakfast exudes elegance: white columns, wide verandas, and antique furnishings that whisper of the Antebellum South. But guests who stay overnight often leave with more than memories of fine tea and creaking floorboards. They leave with questions they can't quite answer. Originally built as a private mansion for Southern aristocracy, Linden has witnessed generations come and go. Some, it seems, chose never to leave. Several guests have reported loud knocking on their doors in the middle of the night, sharp, deliberate taps that echo down the halls. When they open the door, the corridor stands empty, still, too still. Others describe the unmistakable sound of a gown brushing across wooden floorboards, as if someone were pacing slowly just outside their room. One of the most chilling encounters comes from those who've seen her, an elderly woman in a wide, old-fashioned bonnet, standing silently near the front steps. She appears in the early morning mist, her figure fading as guests try to approach. Staff claim she was once the mistress of the house, still tending to her home as if nothing had changed. Despite the warmth of its hospitality, Linden Bed and Breakfast holds on to a different kind of guest, one who never checks in because she never checked out. 9. Duff Green Mansion, Vicksburg, where the echoes of battlefield agony never truly faded. Standing proud in the heart of Vicksburg, the Duff Green Mansion looks like a vision from another era: white-pillared grandeur, delicate ironwork, and rooms furnished in antebellum style. But beneath its polished charm lies a past soaked in blood and anguish. During the Civil War, this stately home became a makeshift hospital for wounded Confederate and Union soldiers. The dining room turned into an operating theater. Bedrooms became wards lined with moaning men. And in one particular room, the surgery many took their last breath under the blade. Visitors today speak of a doctor who never left his post. He's often glimpsed in a long coat and bloodied apron, drifting silently through the hallway, or standing motionless at the end of the surgical room. His face is pale, his eyes hollow. Staff sometimes find metal surgical tools ice cold and out of place, resting on furniture no one touched. Then come the sounds, low groans echoing through empty corridors, sharp cries of pain just beyond the door, and footsteps that stop abruptly, as if someone is still pacing, deciding which patient to see next. Some say the spirits here are restless, not because of how they died, but because of how much they suffered before they did. The Duff Green Mansion may host weddings and high teas today, but listen closely, and you'll hear a war still being fought in whispers and shadows. 10. Rowan Oak, Oxford, where stories still write themselves, even in the dark. Rowan Oak, nestled beneath ancient trees in Oxford, Mississippi, was once the sanctuary of William Faulkner, Nobel Prize-winning author and master of Southern Gothic. The white-columned home, elegant yet weathered, now serves as a museum, preserving his legacy. But some believe the man himself never truly left. Long after the doors close and the last visitor departs, staff speak of faint tapping sounds echoing through the study, like fingers dancing across a typewriter. The old royal machine sits untouched, yet it clacks softly at night, as if summoned by an unseen hand, finishing one last novel. In the library, the rustling of paper, the faint scratch of a pen, and the quiet creak of a desk chair breaking the silence are all too common. One night watchman reported the distinct scent of pipe smoke and the sudden, undeniable pressure of someone standing just behind him. When he turned, the room was empty except for a curtain gently swaying without a breeze. The most unnerving sightings come in. Flashes a man in a white linen suit, walking calmly down the hall, vanishing just before the bend toward Faulkner's bedroom. Rowan Oak remains a place of words and whispers, and if you listen closely, you might catch a sentence forming from somewhere just beyond the page. Mississippi isn't just a state filled with rich history. It's a place where that history lingers, whispers, and sometimes watches. From the silent steps in McRaven House to the sorrowful piano at Waverley Mansion. These aren't just ghost stories. They're fragments of a past that refuses to rest. Maybe the real question isn't, are these places haunted? But rather, why do some memories refuse to fade? If you've ever been to one of these spots or plan to, you might want to keep one thing in mind. The South remembers, and sometimes it remembers you back. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. What haunted place would you dare to spend the night in? Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next story if we make it back.